There's a lot of people out in the industry that look to do harm to your environment. You know, it used to be years ago that a lot of times people would create viruses just for the sake of creating viruses. You saw worms, you saw the Melissa virus, you saw the I love you virus. Sometimes these worms or viruses had malintent, and sometimes they just spread and become a nuisance. What we see in the marketplace today is that organizations are being attacked with software that is specifically written for their environment by somebody that has knowledge of their environment. When we saw one of the recent attacks, there was software that was installed in the point of sale systems that actually scraped the memory of these systems as the cardholder data flew through the environment, right? So we need to implement some type of solution that prevents systems that are commonly affected from malware or commonly affected by malware from being attacked. So when we look at Requirement 5.1, I want to have a little bit of conversation about the commonly affected and what that means. As an assessor, if you tell me I have a Linux system, it is not impacted by malware, I can guarantee you that that is not the case today. If you tell me I have a Mac and Mac is no longer affected by malware, I can guarantee you that that is not the case today. However, in your environment, what we're looking for is that you've done your due diligence about systems that may or may not be impacted by malware. Now, just because I have a Windows operating system or I have a Linux operating system doesn't automatically mean that I have to have a malware solution on there. From an assessor perspective, that is really kind of our starting point. You should have an anti-malware solution on these devices. However, if you've unplugged it from the network and the system is only booted up in order to get information off of it written down on a pin, there's no way to get data out of it or get data into it. And then you shut the machine down, no, that system wouldn't be commonly affected. So as an assessment perspective and from an inventory perspective on your side, you really need to do due diligence. And if you are not going to be implementing an anti-malware solution, you need to make sure that these systems are not going to be impacted by malware should it get into that environment. From an assessment perspective, it's a really difficult conversation to suggest that these operating systems, just because of legacy years past, they didn't need it, that is not the case today. There might be situations where mainframe environments, ZOS, we might have tandem mainframes or tandem devices that are not commonly affected. And it's kind of a given that those systems aren't commonly affected, and we wouldn't look for an anti-malware solution there. But where you have systems where malware is available for those systems, and those systems do get infected, really the starting point should be you have a solution installed.